Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. I can see nearly everyone has arrived as expected now, so let's get started and launch the latest version of InSite Vision. Welcome to you all, and thanks for giving us your time. I'm sure it will prove 20 minutes or so well spent. I'm Martin Salisbury, Sales Director, and today I'm joined by Sheena Murchie, Director of InSite, who I'm sure you all know. Sheena will be showing you InSite Vision very shortly indeed. I'm sure you'll all be as excited as we are about this launch. It's the culmination of a significant investment in both time and resource to keep InSite as the market-leading GIS. We now have over 250 clients licensing and using InSite, some of whom have licensed it for 25 years and some for less than 25 days. And in addition, we have over 50 CACI analysts using it on a daily basis to deliver millions of pounds worth of project work per annum. This means InSite must be both efficient and effective, and our mission is to keep it as the leading market analysis GIS, and this is what we believe we've achieved with this development. I'm going to hand over to Sheena in a sec, but just before I do, there are three key features for InSite users to remember: an improved user interface, better mapping, and future-proofed software. The user interface and mapping improvements will be immediate for everyone to see, one example being the adoption of a ribbon menu. When it comes to future-proofing, InSite's now written in a .NET language. That may not excite the layman too much, but believe me, your IT team will be over the moon about that. However, whilst those three things are very exciting, perhaps the biggest development of all is InSite Everywhere. InSite Everywhere is the new web-enabled InSite product that gives those of you on the move the ability to access InSite from wherever you can get an internet connection on your laptop or tablet. Using InSite Everywhere, you can import and browse data, produce maps and run reports from wherever you may be. That's enough from me for now, as we're itching to get on and show you InSite Vision. I'll now pass over to Sheena and come back for a quick chat at the end of the demonstration. Sheena.
Thanks, Martin. Hi, everybody. So this is your first look at InSite Vision. As you can see, it immediately looks quite different, with the ribbon probably making it look most different. As with all the Office products, you also get listed. I've already got the project open. If I hadn't, it would list the projects. It's now listing recent browsers and recent maps that I've had open. As Martin said, this is really mainly a technology enhancement, but it has allowed us to introduce some new functions and features using the software that we're actually using as the backdrop to InSite. And I'm going to show you some of these new features today rather than concentrate on the things that you know how to do currently in the version that you're using. So let's first of all have a look at these menus. If I move across, you can see quickly that actually all the icons have changed. And it takes up quite a lot of space, this ribbon menu, partly because I'm using a lower resolution than normal today for this webinar, but you never know what resolution you may need to work on. So you can hide the menu like this, and then as you move back across it, so the menus will reappear. To keep it easy, let's leave it on view today. I'm going to use browsing first of all to show you some of the other feature changes. Browsing has had less change made to it, mainly because there's a limit to what you would need to be able to do, and the changes that were open to us within this new version. We've added a few new features, such as additions onto the right mouse menu, so you can now do things on the rows, on the columns, and on tagging directly. Talking of tagging, if you look up here, you'll see that there are actually two menus that relate to browsing. And if we just move across to the tagging menu here, you can see there is a new button here, and this will list any tag sets that you're working on. So if you do use multiple tag sets, it can be quite confusing trying to remember exactly which one you're using at the time. No more in InSite Vision. It will be listed there and you'll be able to change from one to another. If I just click on the label layer for the actual window, you can see here you can close them, or close the individual one, close all of them except that one, but you can also float or make dockable your individual windows. In the version that you're using, you have to choose either to use tabs or to make things dockable. Now you can just pick them up and move them around. If you float your window, you can move it anywhere, not only within the confines of InSite, but actually if you're working on two screens, you can move it outside the window, which particularly if you're working on mapping and you may want to see as much of the map as possible, can be very useful. Let's put it back. Now I've split my window. So let's actually move on to mapping now. I'll close this one. The mapping toolbar ribbon, as you can see here, is pretty congested, which is why you've got the green box up here showing you there are now in fact 5 different menus associated with mapping to try and make it easier for you to locate the things that you're interested in. Nothing is new, although Geometry Edit to some of you may look new. This is hidden currently on the right mouse menu, but all these features are actually currently available to you. Just one thing to mention on drive times that I'm sure you'll notice immediately you get your hands on InSite Vision is the fact that the racetrack with the duck in its pond has gone the ways of technology improvements, and I'm afraid it will be no more. However, I think the general enhancements will soon make you forget that. So let's have a look at how the mapping actually works. I've got my usual map set up here with my towns and my roads. If I want to add a shaded map here, let's pick, say, our comfortable communities or our postal districts. I can select the item I want down here, and then I have a thematic icon. This has now populated the schema and also the item that we're going to be doing our shading on. You can only pick up single items here, so as usual, if you want to actually add items together or calculate percentages, hit select and that will take you through to the expression builder. But today we'll just keep it simple. Usual ranges for the creating your map. I'm not going to change them today. And the default colors. As with currently, you can choose your themes, you can apply themes, you can change individual colors, and you can amend the map to look how you want. So let's just have a look at our default today. It's added that layer to the top of the map, and now I'm going to use a new tab, the Map Properties one. Currently, if you're wanting to move layers around, you have to open the Map Layers window and move things around and then have a look to see what it looks like. If I pick my towns, I move them to the top of the map, they immediately are visible. Move these up, and my roads have now gone above my shaded layer. So immediately you do something in InSite Vision, it will appear on the map. In the same way, here are my bands. Here's my shaded map. Down here you can see the colours that I'm using. And if I don't like them, I just pick them up and change the colour on my map. And as I do so, that change happens immediately on the screen for you to be able to see. And you can do that with any of the layers that are actually on the map. Within this window, you also have other tabs. We've got the Annotations tab here, where I've got legends, info blocks, annotation items, and callouts. So at the moment, I don't have a legend on my map. And my default with this particular layer is actually not to have the shading on that legend. but I can add to my legend here, and it just pops it up by default in that right-hand corner. Again, you can make all these changes in here. You can take off titles, hide various features. I don't know if many of you use callouts. They're not being particularly easy to use insofar as you have to set your map up exactly how you want it, then create your callout. However, you may want to use them a lot more with InSite Vision. It's now a lot easier to actually manipulate a callout on your map. So let's add one. And let's select an area here around Coventry. So it's added it here. And now actually I've decided I don't really like that purple on my map. I can move back, select my layer. Let's just change it. As I change it, so it also changes within my callout window, which means that any changes that you make on your map will be reflected within the window. Obviously you can't change the size. This can save you so much time by actually having it all on, or editable rather, within that particular map. This is probably the main things I'm going to show you on the system today. The applications will remain the same. We're just going to make them look a bit different. But one thing we have added is some functionality with regards to the task log. I don't know if you've ever noticed the task log when you're doing your imports so that you can repeat an exercise. This feature has now been extended so that you can actually schedule imports, particularly useful if you've got an import that takes several hours to run. You can schedule it to happen when you're at lunch, overnight, and it will happen in the background so that it's not actually interfering with what you're doing during the day. And that feature is actually going to be added to other elements within the system where we can make it happen. So that's all I'm going to show you today on InSite Vision, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what InSite Everywhere looks like. So as with every web application, we need to log on. Oops, let's try again. Now we've entered it. As you see, this is still very much in development mode, and when the system sits in the background for 5 minutes or so, it kind of goes into a bit of a death mode. So, I don't know if any of you have seen InSite Online, which is predominantly, well, is only, rather than just predominantly, it's a reporting tool, so really just uses Locator. InSite Everywhere, as you can see from the windows that you've got available to you here, has a lot more features to it. You can browse your data, you can map it, you can create your catchments, and you can import your own data. So let's have a quick look at the usual activities that people do within this sort of system. I want to create a new catchment area. I can select the one that I want. Let's do a drive time. Where do I want it to be around? Again, you've got your usual gazetteers, postcodes, particular place. Let's just pick a place. Let's go to Warwick. Update my map. And there it's dropped the pin on the centre of Warwick. The usual boxes to complete here. My minutes, what time I want. Let's do 20 minutes. And you've got the choice, again, of your road speeds. I want to map my study area. So the drive time catchment has now actually been generated. Before I can report on it, I need to save it. Just lose half the name. And now we've got options to report on our area. So there's the one we've just created. You can see one that I've done previously for York. If I select Warwick, I can then pick up the reports that I've got. So say I wanted to see an acorn population profile. I can change the base that I'm looking at and give it a name. So at this stage, what it's done is actually set things up. If I want to generate my report, I then select it, and it would go away and generate my report, which would be stored on the web, and you would then download and save onto your own machine. So that works pretty much the same as Locator presently. We have recent activity set up here. So if I have a look at my growth in 85 plus, you can see there's a different symbol here. Here's a shaded map which looks rather congested because I've got labels shown on here. I can hide them. And now my map's a bit clearer to see. Again, you can zoom out or zoom in. So this is growth in 85s if you're interested between 2011 and 2021. And you can pan around in the usual way. I think the final thing to show you is a quick overview of the import. Import is really a bit similar to the quick import on the desktop version. It uses a CSV file. It gives you a preview of your file. This key shows you it's located at the postcode column. If it hasn't, in much the same way as you do with the desktop, you just go through it and you change the column to be the postcode. Give it a name, confirm your import, and it will show you that it's actually imported that file and is now available to you. We go back to the browsing. Here's my file that I've just created, and we can have a look at that data. And what you've got in browsing is the ability to do more simple queries really than on the desktop. So you can sort things in ascending or descending order. You can type in if you only want areas that have spent above a particular sum. It will reduce that list. You can see up here it show you how it's just showing you 20 of the 5,700. That number would reduce depending on what your filter was. So you have quite a bit of the desktop functionality, and as Martin said, for anybody on the move, it's a really useful way of actually accessing not only the sort of standard data, but also any imported data that you want to have a look at and to map and make it visible to you today. So that's all I'm going to show a view of the system so far. I'm just going to hand back to Martin to finish off.
Thanks, Gina. What a fantastic system it is, and I'm sure you'll all immediately see how much the development has been, and are enjoying the improved user interface and the mapping there. So, yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Gina. And we hope you all love InSite Everywhere too. So now that you've seen it, I'm quite sure the burning question is, well, when do I get it? Well, the answer to that is going to be later this summer. InSite Vision will be available to you as part of your license fee, so it won't cost you any extra. Well, if you wish to invest in a copy of InSite Everywhere, it'll cost you about the same as an extra copy of your desktop license. Just have a chat with your account manager to sort that out. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending today, and also to our development team who have invested so much work in this. I think the results are there for all to see. If you do have any questions, please email them through to the address on the screen, insight@caci.co.uk, and we'll come back to you with the answers to them very soon. If you can't wait that long, then please do give Sheena, myself, or your account manager a call and we can have a chat. Lastly, a copy of this webinar will be available on our website. So thanks again for attending. We're sure you're going to really enjoy InSite Vision. We'll leave you to it. Thanks very much, and goodbye for now.